Some big wins yesterday for President Donald Trump, but also a significant loss. President Trump had some very big wins over the last couple of days. Mike Pompeo confirmed as Secretary of State sworn in. Rick Grinnell, good friend of mine, Rick, confirmed as ambassador to Germany, and all very important because German Chancellor Angela Merkel is coming to the White House today. And it's great that we now have a unified diplomatic presence to greet her. Germany is really in a state of flux under Merkel. Still a NATO ally. They're still perceived as an ally. What are they? They open their borders to Muslim migrants. They've got a crime and rape problem, a terror problem. And we now know that because Germany wants to play in Iran's oil game, they sold the binary components for the chemical weapons to Iran that were used in the gas attack in Syria. So Germany is also playing, despite being an ally of the U.S. on paper at least, Germany is also playing a very dangerous game with some very, very bad actors. Add to that what I'm sure is Merkel's frustration with Trump's romance with French President Emmanuel Macron, a guy who seems much more aligned with Trump's nationalist stance. Not in a negative connotation, but Macron wants to put France first and Trump wants to put America first, and they realize that America and France have been allies for 200 plus years. Sure, we always joked around about France capitulating and France letting the Nazis roll in, and France over the years being very weak on national defense, on foreign affairs. But it appears there's a sea change. When you speak to guys that, friends of mine who are deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan, people I've had on the show, they'll tell you the French troops are tough guys. They're not, these are not wimps. They're out there alongside our people fighting just as hard. It was French leadership that was, unfortunately, had that mindset of capitulation. But the French military has always been very, very well trained. And when allowed, they fight very honorably, very courageously. So I think we now see a sea change in France. That's got to make Merkel very nervous. Even more than France, Poland. Now, Poland is rabidly national. Poland has closed its borders. Poland has been an incredible ally to the United States because of its nationalism, because of its conservatism, because of its overwhelmingly Catholic nature as a country. Obama shunned Poland. And if you go back to the early days of the first Gulf War, this war included, but the first Gulf War, 1991, GROM, which is the Polish Special Forces. GROM is like their SEALs, our SEALs in Delta rolled into one unit. They went with our SEALs and took out Saddam Hussein's Scud missiles in the first Gulf War. Their special operators were alongside ours in this global war on terror from day one. I actually have the privilege of knowing some GROM guys who are now here in the United States, cross-training with our special operations community, our intelligence community. We share a very close bond with Poland, obviously, right? Germany's neighbor. And so now Merkel has Poland, France to worry about, and this alliance on both sides of Europe. You've got Poland on the east, you've got France on the west, you've got the United States now, a staunch ally with both. Well, they've really got Merkel sandwiched in. Combine that with Pompeo and Grinnell, now confirmed, now sworn in. Merkel is in a box that she was never in with Obama. And it's a story the mainstream media is not reporting to you. They're not talking about our strengthened alliance in Europe with two powers that matter, Poland and France. And Poland's economic base is growing by the day. In fact, one of the very good friend of mine does business there, joint citizen, and he said one of the greatest ironies in the city of Warsaw is that the former, or one of, the former Communist Party's headquarters buildings, and several around the city, for various agencies, is now, you're going to love this. This was a building was dedicated to certain divisions of the Communist Party in Poland, one of the headquarters for those offices. It's now a Ferrari dealership. I mean, is that not the greatest 180 in history? Was a Communist Party building, now it's a Ferrari dealership in the city of Warsaw. So Poland is booming, due in large part to this renewed cooperation with the United States. But Trump did have a loss. And the other big win he had, of course, I mean, the massive win is that North Korea and South Korea those historic photos, those historic videos, presidents of North and South Korea shaking hands, crossing the demilitarized zone to meet. And it looks like there might very well, or I should say we're looking at what might very well be a start to peace in that very, very fragile region. Now, one caveat on that: North Korean state television is not broadcasting meeting. They're instead broadcasting films about Kim Jong-un. And so as I look at this through the lens of intelligence and piecing those nuanced little puzzle parts together, that is concerning to me. North was as serious as the South, as the United States, as the rest of the Western world was, the rest of the world in general. They would probably be a little more visible about, a little more transparent about this on state television. So just something to watch there before we get our hopes too high up. Now, the loss for President Trump was, of course, Dr. Ronny Jackson withdrawing his name as VA Secretary nominee. We've covered this. The smears are disgraceful. They accused him of being intoxicated in a government vehicle. I don't buy it for 1 second. Don't buy it for 1 second. Unauthorized use of a government vehicle, especially if you're intoxicated, is a fireable offense. This would not have been swept under the rug, especially for an officer. Especially for an officer and a surgeon. This would not have been swept under the rug. I don't believe any of it. I think Chuck Schumer and John Tester should be ashamed. I mean ashamed of them. Absolute disgrace. An absolute disgrace. They'd be ashamed of themselves. But it's what Democrats do. The one who really bothers me in all this is Barack Obama. This is a testament to his just petty nature. He's just not a good guy. Ronny Jackson honorably served in a dedicated way, I should say, the Obama family for 8 years. He took care of Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, their children. He received rave reviews from the Obama family. Took care of that family for nearly a decade, but when his name was dragged through the mud by fellow Democrats, Barack and Michelle Obama, and now their adult daughters, remain dead silent. That is reprehensible. Reprehensible. Terrible. And they should be ashamed of themselves. But all in all, a big win for President Trump this week. New Gallup polls show he will waltz to re-election. He's going to win an easy re-election if this trajectory continues. Despite all of this nonsense from Mueller. I think that thing is winding down anyway. But who knows? I don't trust Mueller. But again, big wins for President Trump this week. Keep an eye on North and South Korea. And I'm going to be going much deeper into all this on my longer show, Off the Cuff Declassified, today, right here on The Rebel. If you like this content, I hope you do, because I love bringing it to you. Please subscribe to our premium service at www.therebel.media/shows. Go to your app store, download the great Rebel app. Great way to get all of our content. And my sources in Tallahassee are telling me that the removal of Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel is now imminent after the vote of no confidence by Broward Sheriff's deputy. So please go to firescottisrael.com, sign our petition. Let's help the governor make this decision quickly to remove Scott Israel from office.